All right, doing something a little bit vintage is the wrong word for it, but from a few years back that was remarkably difficult to find for a decent price, like even semi-decent. It's kind of ridiculous, but also is a set that I kind of shockingly really wanted despite its simplicity, because I'll get into it when we get into like the transformations and stuff. But yes, today we're looking at the RiD 2015 Combiner Force Stunticons. Combiner Force itself, I don't think was in 2015, but it's from RiD. It's the not 2001 version, the 2015 version. And yeah, right off the bat, I will say these toys are very simple. The robot modes are kind of a joke for 4 out of the 5 of them. And I don't care because they're just a lot of fun to mess with. Like a lot of fun. I've had these guys on my desk for a couple of weeks now, and I just keep wanting to grab them, take them apart, put them back together, transform them, to their robot modes, to their vehicle modes, to the combined mode. It's a good time. And now, what we have here is an assortment of figures that I'm going to have a difficult time with because only 2 of them have traditional Stunticon names. We've got Motormaster and Dragstrip, and that's it. After that, we have Wildbreak, Heatseeker, for some reason, and Slashmark. Slashmark is not a great name. So yeah, it's a Heatseeker, Dragstrip, Motormaster. See, I cannot keep the names in my head, rather. Wildbreak and Slashmark. I'm going to remember Slashmark because it sounds very inappropriate, or just this shy of very inappropriate. But yeah, these are them. They are in their vehicle modes, and let's just get Heatseeker and Dragstrip off to the side, get Motormaster off to the side, Slashmark off to the side, and start with, I cannot remember this guy's name. Wildbreak. Why can't I remember? It's like a weird combination of Wild Rider and Breakdown. That's weird. But Wildbreak and Dragstrip have the same vehicle mode, just in different colors. That's it. Wildbreak is blue. Dragstrip is yellow. Have the same black wheels. Dragstrip does have this nice little purple stripe on the front here, but then they both have the same shade of red for the windscreen and the side windows. Though Dragstrips, they painted a little bit more of the side windows. Wildbreak, not so much, which I guess helps to make the profile look ever so slightly different. And they have the same, or not the same, they have slightly different spoilers, but the spoilers are gray on both of them. And yeah, they're the same car, but they look nice. I actually think these cars are kind of cool. Reminds me a little bit of RiD Bisque. Just this like kind of semi-concept-y, extra angles kind of vehicle. This is also kind of akin to Prime Viacons in a way, which I guess kind of tracks because it did come after Prime. But yeah, I don't know. The car modes look pretty good. I like the angles. I think the colors are nice. I think a little bit more color on Wildbreak would not go amiss, but it's fine. These are, it's a simple set of simple figures, so that's fine. We'll look at these 2 more later. Then we've got Slashmark and Heatseeker. I'm remembering the names. I think it's finally starting to stick. So Heatseeker and Slashmark, they are, again, like they're the same vehicle, but just painted differently. Slashmark, they painted the entire roof section blue, and then they did the black for the windows all the way around, not red like the other 3 Limbots, which is a little bit odd, but whatever. And then Heatseeker, you've got red going all the way around and then some extra red detailing on the side. But yeah, other than that, these are the same vehicle. I don't believe there's any different molding between the 2 of them in any way in vehicle mode. There's slightly different molding in robot mode, but yeah, it's like a SUV type thing, and it's fine. I think for what these are meant to do, I think they work well. And, again, could use a little bit more paint, but it is what it is, and who knows, maybe one day I'll paint these myself. I don't know. I keep saying that with a lot of figures, and then I never do. but maybe. And Motormaster is the big chunky boy of the group, because of course he is. He's a little bit gappy around the side, but I think that's okay. He's got 5 wheels, 2 of which are fake on both sides, which again is fine. He doesn't roll super well, but he doesn't need to either. The other vehicles roll a bit better, but eh. But what I like about this is it doesn't it doesn't quite evoke Motormaster, but it also kind of does. It's the kind of thing where I don't look at this and immediately think Motormaster, but if I look at this and someone tells me Motormaster, I go, oh yeah, I can see it. There's something about the shape and contours and kind of attitude of this vehicle mode that makes me think, yeah, that totally tracks for Motormaster. It's not a truck and trailer, I don't think, unless this is supposed to be a trailer and it's just not doing a good job of conveying that it's a separate piece. But this is a nice, chunky, armored truck-looking thing that looks pretty nasty in a good way. And it has paint, like the black and purple on the sides, black for the weird tires that aren't actually tires, or wheels rather. And then you've got the black up here, which I feel like that's meant to evoke the windshield, but when we zoom in, you can see there's this little carved in spot up here that I feel like that's actually the windshield. So I don't know. And then the grille also has black painted on it, but then the headlights don't have any paint. So yeah, Motormaster could also use more paint, but it is what it is. And it's just kind of a solid lump that rolls a little bit. But for what he is, I think he's just fine. And we're just going to grab a couple of figures here. So we're going to grab Wildbreak. I'm trying to remember. For some reason, this guy's name keeps falling out of my head. But Wildbreak and Heatseeker, because we want to do size comparisons, but we're doing the entire team out here because they're all this guy, Wildbreak and Dragstrip are the same, and Heatseeker and Slashmark. That's what it is, Slashmark. I don't know why I thought Streak. Slashmark. They're the same mold as well, so I'm just going to have 3 of them out for size comparisons. And these are, they're not tiny, but they're also not big. Bring out Dinobot. Dinobot kind of towers over everybody, as does Overprime, as does even Samus, really. And we get all these out of the way, and bring in Burnout. And Burnout is also a lot bigger than even Motormaster. Yeah. These are not big figures, which I don't care, but that is how it goes. And I think it's fine. Again, for what these are meant to be, for what they're meant to do, I do not mind the fact that they're not huge. But anyway, here they all are clustered around the duct tank. I was thinking, if it hadn't been for the fact that I've had Burnout for so long and have upgraded her with Reaper labels and love how the whole thing looks, I might be tempted to replace her with Cannonball, but nope, not going to happen. Going to keep Breakdown for quite some time. Okay, now let's transform all of these into their robot modes, and it's going to be kind of funny in a sad way, but we'll start with Slashbreak, right? No. Slashmark. I can't remember their names. It's so bad. Slashmark. For Slashmark to transform into both Slashmark and Heatseeker, to transform either one of them into the robot modes, you just stand them up. And there's a little bit more to the transformation, but that's basically it. And then you just pull out the arms. And there we have Heatseeker and Slashmark. And we will look at them in a little bit more detail in a second. Whoops, Heatseeker fell over. And I'll bring in Wildbreak and Dragstrip. Their transformations are also exactly the same, though they are a little bit more involved. What you want to do is take the front section of the car and actually rotate it forward like this. And that becomes feet. And then separate out the arms. And for Wildbreak, it's the same deal. There are Dragstrip and Wildbreak. All done, very simple. And then Motormaster is, of course, the most involved one. You want to untab the back section here. There are just these little tabs here that tab in here. And then this entire lower part of the truck will hinge down. This section will untab, and these will rotate. And then you can get a fingernail in here to flip down what will become the feet. Again, simple transformation, but more involved than the others. And we'll zoom out a little bit because Motormaster is bigger. Now you want to untab this section. It's like a sliding. You just slide it out, but yeah, untab it. Hinge these out on like a double hinge, and these shoulder sections will tab into the torso. It's not super secure, but it's secure enough. Like it's not falling out or anything like that. And then bring these sections down to become the arms. And finally, use a nail or something similar to pull out the head. And there is Motormaster. Let's bring everyone back in here. Here's Dragstrip and Wildbreak, Heatseeker and Slashmark. So there are the 5 Stunticons from Combiner Force, and they are quaint, let's say. I do like this set. Yes, the individual robot modes are a little bit like especially the Limbots. I completely, willingly and freely acknowledge that Heatseeker, Dragstrip, Wildbreak, and Slashmark, they're not much in terms of robots. But again, for what they are, they're fine. Like, I think the vehicles look good, especially Wildbreak and Dragstrip. And I enjoy the transformations, as simple as they may be. I do enjoy them. And again, in particular, really like the combination. But yeah, they, as a team, they look pretty decent. Let's get Motormaster and Wildbreak and Dragstrip out of the way. I do not know why my brain cannot hang on to their names like that. And look at Heatseeker and Slashmark, and they are, once again, the same figure. They are mechanically exactly the same. Color-wise, slightly different. Molding-wise, slightly different. So, like, if you notice, the waist sections are different. The molding for the pelvis on both of them is a little bit different. Heatseeker has something that almost looks like a reflector chest, or like the reflector, like viewfinder, like one of the other ones. And then, it's more like a grill almost, I guess, for Slashmark's pelvis section. The chests, I did some close inspection. I'm pretty sure the chests are actually the same molding-wise. It's just that the deco is different, where Slashmark has a lot of blue going around and leaving some parts unpainted, whereas Heatseeker leaves most of it unpainted and just does the little red in the chest and like the top of the chest there, almost like it's supposed to be a window. I don't know, which I guess could track because the windows are red. But it's really weird to me because from what I can tell, this entire piece, from the pelvis to the chest to the head, it's all one piece. So I don't understand why the molding is identical on the chest for both Slashmark and Heatseeker, because they did do a little bit of remolding on the pelvis, and they definitely remolded the heads. So I just, I don't get it. I don't know why they didn't remold the chests at all, but whatever. The paint is enough to make it look a little bit different. But yeah, they are basically just planks. They are planks with little fold-out arms. They do not articulate at all. It's like, this is all you get. This is the articulation. But it's fine. Like, for what they do, it's fine. And like I said, for me, the main attraction is just the process of converting them back and forth to the robot vehicle and combination. The heads are different, and I appreciate the fact that they are molded differently. Slashmark's head is just kind of, it's whatever. He looks angry. He looks like a Decepticon. He's got red eyes. It's almost like an Impactor-like helmet in a way, vaguely Spartan-esque. But yeah, it is what it is. Heatseeker's head, I think, is a little bit more interesting because he's got that like one big cyborg eye. Well, it's not really a cyborg because he's a robot, but you know what I mean. Like one big eye that's kind of mismatched. There's a little bit more visual interest to the helmet sculpt. So yeah, I think I feel like color-wise, Slashmark is more interesting, but molding-wise, Heatseeker is more interesting. So yeah, and again, that's them. They're just planks with arms that don't do anything. And Wild Rider, I keep saying Wild Rider, Wildbreak and Dragstrip. Dragstrip's the one that has the normal name, are much the same. They are non-articulated planks. You can bounce the arms up and down. That's it. They cannot rotate forward and backward. You cannot do anything else articulation-wise. I mean, I guess you could do this to have them like limbo and fall backwards if you wanted, but that doesn't really accomplish anything. And unlike Heatseeker and Slashmark, the molding for Dragstrip and Wildbreak is, again, like, the heads are different, but like everything else is identical. I guess you could call them legs, the torso, the midsection, the pelvis sections, they are exactly the same. It's just the painting that's different, and the head sculpts are different. And I just, again, do not understand why, if they, like, because this is one piece. It's spoilers for the transformation, for combination, but like this is one solid piece. So if they remolded the heads, I feel like they could have remolded the chests. You know, same complaint with the other ones, but it is what it is. And again, the paint does help to make the chests look a little bit more unique. So like the heads, in addition to the chest paint, do help these to look like different characters. Clearly not different figures. Like they're very obviously the same figure, but they clearly look like different characters at least. So I'll give them that. Wildbreak's head is very obviously meant to evoke Wild Rider because of the horns on the side and even like the little divot on top. Just kind of, it looks a little bit like the Wild Rider style flat top, except like a gap in the top. So yeah, it just seems like this is clearly supposed to be Wild Rider. But the molding is good, and you know, for what it is, it looks fine. Just, you know, it's kind of it's a nothing figure that doesn't really do much. And Dragstrip, same deal. Molding is fine. This also oddly does kind of read as Dragstrip to me, just in terms of the shape of the head. I do think it would have been nice if they painted his face as, you know, Dragstrip, but whatever. And like I said, who knows? Maybe one day I'll do it myself. But the molding is good, and it looks good for what it is. With Dragstrip, I think he is the clear winner in terms of the two of them. I mean, Wildbreak's color scheme works, but Dragstrip, I think, is more interesting because you've got that yellow with the purple, which just looks nice. But there are the two of them. And then for the most interesting of the set, here is Motormaster. And he is pretty blank in terms of paint. Like, there is no new paint aside from the eyes. There's no new paint in this mode that you didn't already see in the vehicle mode, which is disappointing. And I'm sure, mention that when we get to the combination, but it's a thing. You know, I do understand why they're not painted more, but it would have been nice. But at least with Menasor, you get the big black and purple shoulders, which do look nice facing forward like that. You get a little bit of purple on the arms, the black for those non-tires, non-wheels on the what are now the thighs. Add a little bit of color down here, which helps. And of course, the chest is just the front of the truck. But it looks fine. You know, he looks good for what he is. Proportions are pretty decent. I'd say, I mean, I think it's kind of a given that he is the best out of the 5 in terms of robot modes, but he doesn't have hands. His arms are just bits of truck. If you really wanted to, you could fold these bits out to pretend they're hands, but then they come down way too far. And so we'll just leave those up. But again, I think for what he is, he's fine. For articulation, he has a little bit more than the others. The head doesn't do, well, I mean, you can look down into his chest, but like that's it. You get no arm articulation on, like no shoulder articulation, I should say. You can, I guess, technically do reverse butterfly if you wanted to. So there's that. The arms can go out to 90. You do get what I guess could charitably be called elbow bend, kinda, to a point. You can do that if you really want. You do not get any waist rotation. You do not get any forward and backward motion on the hips, but you do get outward motion. So there is that. You don't get knees in any capacity, but you do get a swivel at the knee. And you don't get any foot articulation, but you can untransform that bit if you want the toe to move up. So much more articulation than the rest of the Stunticons, but that is not saying much. But I still, like, I'm being realistic, but I still really do like these guys. Now, since we looked at Wildbreak and Heatseeker, I think, in the last size comparison thing, we're going to do Slashbreak. Why can't I names? Slashmark. Slashmark and Dragstrip for the robot mode comparisons. And we are still going to have to bring this up because, again, these guys are not tall. So here is Dinobot and both Prime and Burnout and Samus. So yeah, I'd say Motormaster is roughly deluxe height. Roughly, but also definitely not deluxe complexity. So not deluxe complexity. And, of course, here they all are with the duck tank. Okay, now for the best part of this set, and I am both not being sarcastic and also being really sincere in that I legitimately really enjoy doing the combination for this set. So to start, we're going to start, and let's do what we normally do and start at the bottom and work our way up. So going to do Slashmark, going to bring the arms in and clip them back into place, then grab the shin section, this whole black piece here, will unpeg and swing around 180 degrees so it now sits on the back of the vehicle. And then I'm going to take the entire torso section, hood section of the car, and untab it and swing it up and then click that into place. So now the entire upper body is just kind of there. And now we've got this going on, and this is going to very clearly be a leg. So there is Slashmark in leg mode. Heatseeker, same deal. Bring those in, fold this down and around, fold this up, and you're done. Very simple. What satisfying to do, feels good. I really like, there's a really solid thunk when you click that into place, which is really nice. And you even get a little bit of ankle tilt out of the deal, so I dig it. Now, Wildbreak and Dragstrip, their transformations are more involved and also weirdly difficult in one very specific way. So what you want to do is bring the arms in, fold this back up, basically turn them back into a car, and then you want to fold out the legs here, which are actually the combiner fist. But it's weirdly difficult because it wants to snap back. Okay, that time I actually got it. That's like one of the only times I've managed to do that. But bring that out. Take this hood section. This actually comes back slightly. And this swings around, and these sections here will kind of tab into, not really tab into, but sit into these little openings on the back of what will become the combiner fist. And then you can rotate the thumb to whichever position you want. Take the entire torso plank and unclip it and swing it down, and that will settle into the forearm, and then just slide the top section or the back section, the front section apart to lengthen things. And you want to do this after moving this piece, because otherwise this will cause problems. So you want to have that down first. So there is Wildbreak, and then Dragstrip, same deal. Closing the arms, bring this up, so back to vehicle mode, and then hold this out of the way and bring this down. And again, it's weirdly working better now for some reason. But I want to say what I was doing, because I could not get these pieces down the normal way because it just didn't want to work. What actually does work is if you keep this bit down and then push this down a little bit just so that this has room to move, you can push from this side. And I use a pinky because my fingers are kind of big, but push from this side to push the fist out a bit, and then I can grab the sides of the fist and pull it out this way. That's how I've been doing it because I couldn't get it the other way, but you know, your mileage may vary. Anyway, fold down the torso plank and then slide that apart, and there we have another arm. And then for Motormaster, I'm going to fold the toes in and just leave that as is. I'm going to fold out the combiner bits, combiner ports. Now for the head, like you want to do this first. You want to get the Menasor head out. You can just push this little grill and that will make the head snap out. But if you do that, you have a Motormaster head on the back. So what you can do is just fold the Motormaster head in first and then push the button and it whips around and there's the Menasor head. And you can also, if you don't do it first, you can have it like this and fold it in like that. Also, I realized I didn't talk about Motormaster's head sculpt. So real quick, it looks good. I really like the sculpt. I like they still put it in the box. I wish there was more paint than just the red eyes. Okay, so hold that in, push button, there's Menasor head. And now this arm will accordion up. You want to move that joint too. So you want to accordion all this up, and this goes up and around the shoulder. And there's this bit here and this little tab back here that go into slots on the sides of the torso. Like on this side it'd be here and back here. And you want the Menasor head in place first because it kind of sits, like the way things clip together, it kind of holds it in place. So this will actually click in to hold the Menasor head in place. And now, like it does move, but like it kind of catches, as you can see. So yeah, that's why I do the Menasor head before I bring that stuff in. So there's Menasor's torso mode. You can take the legs, and there are little connector bits here and in here, and they marry up and clip together on both legs. And then for the arms, same deal. You've got bits here and in here, and you just place them together. And there we have RiD Combiner Force Menasor in robot mode. And I actually think this looks incredibly cool. Articulation is something of a joke, but it looks really cool. And that combination is really fun and satisfying to do. It's also really clean. Like there's, I guess, like a little bit of arguable hollowness. Well, definite hollowness back here, but like arguably some hollowness back here. But like I don't care. But yeah, this is a cool combination. This is a cool look for Menasor. I like how different it is. It's not really show accurate, but it's still cool. Thing though that I do with this guy, I don't like to do the combination this way. I think this is the official combination, or at least how I see it combined most often in like product shots and whatnot. I don't like doing this combination for one very simple reason, and that is because of Dragstrip. you look at Dragstrip, let me bring this up a little bit. You've got the freaking product code printed right there, front and center, and I do not like that. And then on this side, on Wildbreak, you also have a little stamp there, but like the stamp is harder to see. So what I end up doing is I like to swap things, because these guys are not Scramble City, I guess more like Scramble Township, Scramble Neighborhood. I don't know, but basically the legs can go on either side and the arms can go on either side. So I'm just going to pop off Wildbreak and Dragstrip, swap them around, and then you just rotate the thumb to the other side. And that's all you have to do to switch the arms. So that's very, very appreciated. I like how they did that with the thumbs, so you could put them on either side. Because now Dragstrip has the printed numbers, but they're much harder to see. And Wildbreak has the actual like inked, painted, tampographed, whatever code, but it's black on really dark blue, so it doesn't show up anywhere near as much as it does on Dragstrip. Like that, you can still see even when zoomed out, but like on Wildbreak, it's much harder to notice. So that's why I do that. And then I also prefer to swap the legs, because I don't mind having the, I guess, gray, red, and yellow, and then blue and blue. Like I don't mind having the two blues on the same side, but I prefer to mix it up. So I'm just going to disconnect. Why do I keep forgetting his name? Slashmark and Heatseeker, and just plug them in on their other sides and just tilt the ankles so that now they're like this. And there is how I prefer to have my Combiner Force Menasor displayed. Again, just because I want to clean up the printing on Dragstrip. Though I may try to see if I could use the alcohol, the 90% proof isopropyl alcohol trick to remove the numbers on Dragstrip. Just have to be really careful with those windows. But anyway, yeah, this is a cool figure. I think the proportions are really neat. They're not, they're a little bit weird. The hands are down to the knees. You can, if you want, push the arms back up without doing that transformation step, and that cleans up the proportions a bit. But I like having that extra transformation step, so I just do this anyway. But yeah, it's a cool looking Menasor. I do think it's neat how Motormaster's arms come up to really bulk out the torso, like that makes most of the upper torso and shoulders, where what used to be Motormaster's chest is now Menasor's stomach, basically. I don't know, I think that's kind of neat. And I like how Dragstrip and Wildbreak transform, because, there's just enough there to keep me invested, and I think the panel folding down is kind of cool in a very simple way. Like, it's not, this is not a mind-blowing combiner team in any way, but I just think that, having that stuff on a plank that you fold down is kind of clever. Clever for a simpler toy. Now, for Menasor's head, I also really like this look for Menasor. It gets the point across. It looks like him because he's got the little head crest thing, but I kind of like how it's also nestled inside these massive shoulders. I think it looks cool. And of course, black with the gray face and the red eyes, it just screams Menasor. So yeah, it's a cool design, cool head. Articulation wise, well, it's about what you get with Motormaster. The head does nothing. I guess if you wanted to, you could detransform it a bit to have him look up and leave a giant gap in his chest. But yeah, the head doesn't really do anything. The arms rotate around so you can have him go in for hugs. but like that's it. The arms don't go out because of how everything's come together. And you can move this joint down if you want, but the problem is you can't really do it when the arms are out. Like you can kind of do it, but then what does that accomplish? And you can also have them, I guess you could do this. So that counts as articulation. The hands don't, like, you've got no biceps, no elbows, no wrists. The hands can do this, and the thumbs can do this. Like Motormaster, there's no waist, no forward and backward motion on the hips, but they can go out. You get that thigh swivel, and then no knees. I guess if you really wanted to, you could disconnect this and like do something like this to pretend he's kneeling. I don't know. But yeah, he does not have knees. But because of the way this works, you get an ankle tilt. So there's that. So yeah, it's a very, very simple figure, very simple combiner, but it's the kind of thing where for me, the big appeal is both the look and the kind of the sum of its parts. The fact that it looks cool and the transformation, while definitely simple and it definitely leaves the different limbs and even Motormaster pretty severely compromised, it's still really fun to do and interesting despite its simplicity. Like the fact that the entire upper body of both Heatseeker and Slashmark, can't I remember these names? But Heatseeker and Slashmark, like the fact that their entire upper body, including the arms, hinges back at like 90 degrees to become feet, while the entire lower body becomes like the shins, is really interesting. Everything that Wildbreak and Dragstrip do is also really interesting. And I really think that Motormaster's transformation is interesting as well. The way his arms come up to make like the upper body / shoulder mass. It's really, for what it is, really cool. These do not hold a candle to, even the G1 combiners. The G1 combiners had more articulation and functionality than this thing. But like stylistically, it's really cool, and engineering-wise, it's just fun to mess with. So yeah, I've got no complaints outside of maybe he could do with a little bit of paint. And I mean, it would be nice if it had more articulation, but considering what this toy is supposed to be, I think it's really cool for what it is. And now, as far as sizes go, he's definitely bigger now. So he is bigger than Dinobots, and by extension, Over Prime and Samus and Burnout. I'd say like vaguely leaderish height, but like it kind of depends on what you use as a marker for leader class these days. And I am going to do this comparison just because, but it is not what I would call a fair comparison. Also, I'm going to have to move this way back. But here is Combiner Force Menasor with Legacy Menasor. Hey, it actually is all in frame. I don't have to pull back too much further. So, yeah, he comes up to about Legacy Menasor's hips, not even his waist, but something to keep in mind. This is this Menasor, Legacy Menasor that I have, uses the DNA upgrades. So he's got the feet come up, boost him up a little higher, and he's got longer thighs. So his proportions are a little different. So he does stand a little taller. I feel like without the upgrades, he would probably be closer to to Legacy Menasor's waist. But yeah, this is not a big combiner. And honestly, thank goodness for that, because big combiners can get clunky and take up a lot of space, and we have a relatively small apartment in New York, so I don't really want to deal with finding space for a really big RiD combiner. So this is fine. This is perfectly fine for me. And finally, and most importantly, here he is with the duck tank. And that does it for RiD Combiner Force Menasor and the Stunticons. And as I said, like, this set is 100% not going to, blow anyone's mind, I don't think, in terms of engineering or stylization. Well, I mean, I guess it could blow someone's mind if it's like one of their earlier Transformers figures, because this is meant for children, like literal children. So that could happen. And it is completely valid if it does happen. But yeah, this is very simple, very compromised in terms of the individual robots. But like, most of the vehicles look pretty good. The combine mode looks really cool. The articulation is not great, but there's enough there for it to be fun to mess around with. And as I said, like, the biggest thing for me is I really enjoy flipping this set back and forth between all the different modes. Even with the compromised robot modes, it's still a lot of fun to mess with. And I'm incredibly glad that I got this guy. Now, in case anyone was going to ask, he does have a sword. I didn't get the sword, but this set normally comes with a sword. I don't have it, so I can't show it off. But I don't care, because you can't really use the sword in any of the vehicle or robot modes, so I'm fine with this. This is totally fine, and I got this figure for less than like 60, 80, 100 bucks, as like I normally see it listed for, because that is just absurd. But yeah, this is very cool. Not what I would call fantastic as a figure, but it's a really fun toy. I like messing around with it, and I think it looks cool. But that is all I have to say about Combiner Force Menasor. What do you all think of this set? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you with wow, I am not talking good right now. I will see you in whatever the next video is going to be.